Forget what you heard.
Yeah, boy! Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Forget What You Heard. Yo soy Aaron.
And I'm Luke. Today we're going to be going over our X Factors from the 2020-2021 NBA season. Aaron, can you explain to them the X Factors for each of these teams?
Great question. I'd love to explain the X Factor. So basically an X Factor is someone for like a playoff team that could get them into the championship, win them a series. Someone you don't, so it's not always the star. And for X Factors, for teams that aren't playoff bound, it's just an X Factor would be someone that could potentially get them to the next step and maybe get them into the playoffs eventually or next year. So that's basically how we're breaking it down today.
Yeah, we'll have an X Factor for each NBA team for this season. What player on this team can excel them to become a better team, push them to reach that next level. And, you throw these guys in certain situations and they excel and they do really well. So
every team, every time someone's won a championship or made a big run, it's all about the X Factor, man.
Absolutely, yeah. That's what makes championships teams, man, is the X Factor.
Yes.
Stepping up big time.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll go ahead and get right into it. But, we have a trip coming up, leaving tomorrow morning for Cato Lake in East Texas.
Ooh.
It's on the border of Texas and Louisiana.
East Texas, baby.
Yeah, Cato Lake. It's the only natural lake in Texas. Very beautiful. It's the world's largest grouping of cypress trees in the world, actually. You can look up pictures, look up videos. It's gorgeous. It's really big. And a lot of mystery, a lot of mystique around this Cato Lake. So we're going to go see it firsthand. We know we'll be out there for 2 nights. And we'll report back in and report what we seen, what we saw, what we smelt. All those different things. Hopefully we can come back telling a story.
Yeah, Cato Lake has been known for Sasquatch sightings, hundreds since 1965. But that's not the whole reason we're going. We're going to enjoy ourselves, and we happen to stumble upon His Majesty. We will be sure to, draw pictures, tell you what it was like, what it smelled like, what his hair felt like, what his feet looked like, if it was a male or female.
Nature boys in the cut, man.
Yeah, because if we do stumble upon one, we're going to literally just stare at it right back as it stares into our soul.
Yeah, we came up with this idea that if we did encounter one, we were going to do the wheelbarrow where I would get on my hands, Aaron would grab my ankles, and we would just walk.
Or I get on Luke's shoulders, and we put a trench coat on, and it looks like we're taller than the Sasquatch, so maybe he gets scared.
Yeah, different ideas.
Or he thinks that we're Sasquatch as well, just wearing a coat.
That's the plan, man, because you never know with these encounters what might turn out.
But I highly doubt that we see one, so
yeah, no,
don't hold your breath.
We're just going, like you said, for the recreational use, the hiking, the gorgeousness, the beautifulness.
The gators.
And just being outside, man. Tent camping
Yeah.
For a few nights, so.
Hot dog roasting, ghost storytelling, guitar playing, singing. I'm not wearing a shirt the whole time. Luke, we'll have a whole report on what happened out there, because I'm sure if we don't find a Sasquatch, there'll still be a lot of stories to tell and good times to remember.
For sure, yeah. We might actually, if you stay tuned to the Instagram, we might go Instagram live out there. So, stay close to the phone. If you want to come out, meet us, meet and greet, say what's up, search the forest, let us know, man.
Yeah, we'll be there.
We'll be there. We'll be out there somewhere. But yeah, man, let's get into it. Enough of the Cato Lake. The NBA X Factors this year. We'll start off in our Atlantic Division in the Eastern Conference. First off, with the Boston Celtics. Who do you have as the X Factor for the Boston Celtics this year?
JB, Jaylen Brown. I think we all know that Jason Tatum is the star, but every superhero needs a sidekick. And I think that boy is JB, because he's got potential to be a superstar, but if he learns his role and knows and puts up numbers when needed, and whenever, Jason needs a break, with the scoring load, he can't score 60 every night. JB's definitely there to, pick that up. He averages like 25 a game. He's having the best year of his career, and he's blossoming right before our eyes like a little tulip in the sunlight.
Yeah, I like JB. I think he's definitely an X factor for this team. Looking forward to the playoffs. But my X factor is going to be Kemba. A guy he's kind of a vet. He's been around. He knows the game. For him to be the X factor, he's up and down. He's kind of inconsistent. But, in the playoffs, if he's able to find some consistency, find a stroke, this team could really be, pretty dangerous. With JB, with Tatum, with Robert Williams, these guys out here that are, you have your main guys already with Brown and Tatum, but Kemba being that second to third option for them and being able to find consistency on this team, I think would really push them to be something dangerous and maybe even make a run with Kemba and all those guys locked in. I think just for him to be put in this situation, be the third guy that every NBA team needs. And, Kemba Walker's their X factor, I think, going into the NBA postseason. Next up is the Brooklyn Nets, another controversial one, another tough team. They look like they're finding their strides, getting healthy, still missing James, but, this team has a few X factors, I think, in my opinion. Jeff Green's playing really well. Blake Griffin's, hit or miss, but, it still seems like he's trying to find his way here in Brooklyn. And then Kyrie and KD, they're going to play no matter what. But the X factor for me is James. It's going to be James Harden. You have, KD, just dropped 50 today against the Bucks. Look dominant as usual. Kyrie was Kyrie, but, the whole thing is, James can't perform in the playoffs. And to me, he's the X factor. If he's able to shrug that off, get all the hate off his shoulders, really put his nose down and get to play in this postseason, this team will not be beat. This team is loaded from top to bottom. And, if Harden's just able to, make some strides in this postseason play with these other guys, then, he's the X factor in my mind, honestly.
Yeah, that's a good one. My X factor is KD, Kevin Durant, Slim Reaper, easy money sniper. And the reason for that is because if he's on, they're damn near impossible to beat. And he might be the best, or he is the best player, but I think if he stays healthy, he scores at will very easily, high percentage. You're looking at his stats at half, he's already putting up, 19, 20 points. It doesn't look like he shot more than 10 shots. And with KD going, it makes James Harden and Kyrie's jobs a lot easier. It takes the pressure off. KD's been there, done that. He's got some finals MVPs. So I think if he stays healthy and does what he does, Brooklyn's got a heck of a shot to hoist that Larry O'Brien trophy and pop champagne like they won the championship game.
Yeah, for sure. KD's gonna KD.
But they do have a lot of X factors. You could pick a lot. You could pick Kyrie,
Joe Harris,
Bruce Browns.
Yeah, Brownie boys, man.
I like how you said Jeff Green too, because he's having a heck of a year. Uncle Jeff.
Yeah, for sure. He's been solid.
He has a nice dunk every game.
Yeah, he's playing with younger Jeff Green, and it's exciting.
Yeah, it's nice, but yeah, you can pick it. There's multiple on this team.
I agree. Next up is the New York Knicks. My X factor for this team is Julius Randle. He's been the best player on this team all season long, every night. Most improved player of the year, in my opinion. I know there are some other guys you could say are X factors, but on this contending Knicks team, it's all in the hands of Julius Randle. Wherever they go, it's because of him. So, if they want to be up there, battling with the Nets and the Celtics and the Bucks, it's all going to be on the hands of what Julius Randle's doing. If he's able to, put up big numbers against these teams every night, it's a they can really, really, play their best ball against these teams with whatever Julius is doing, man. That's really what it comes down to, put up triple-double, and he's averaging a lot of points. So it's really just on the hands of Julius Randle if he's able to go into the playoffs and really, kind of dominate, 30-point triple-doubles and stuff like that. It's, they could actually, make some upsets here in the postseason.
Yeah, I have Julius Randle as like an MVP candidate. And I think that, if the Knicks are to make those upsets, they need an X factor next to Julius, because we know what Julius brings game in and game out. He's averaging 25, 10 rebounds, whatever, 6 assists. So, we know he's going to bring that, but the Knicks need like I said, a sidekick, very important. And that sidekick for me, the X factor is R.J. Youngman Barrett. Because this year he's shown flashes, he's still inconsistent. But if he can make that outside shot, use that to his advantage, use a pump fake, get in the lane, he's a good free throw shooter. He works hard on defense. Tibbs obviously likes him. So if they can get a lot of production out of him, I can see, the Knicks maybe winning round 1 series, or going to maybe a second round series. But like I said, I think, Julius needs that X factor, which is R.J. Barron.
Yeah, I agree. I think, Barrett is an X factor. It depends if he's able to play. He's very inconsistent, but if he's able to make strides and kind of show up in the postseason, then absolutely he could.
He's made strides from last year to this year.
Yeah.
But he's still very inconsistent. But you got to remember, he's 20 years old.
Yeah, he's still very raw.
He's going to be a good player one day.
Next up is Philadelphia 76ers. My X factor is Ben Simmons. I think he's the biggest. I think he's the biggest X factor for this team. Joel Embiid does this thing every night, but Ben Simmons is that guy that we know his potential's there. We know he could be this, superstar. He could definitely be a number 2 on a championship team. If he's able to, really pull himself together, and his defense and his ability to play make, and he's just a good second fiddle to Joel. But you're gonna need a lot out of him in the postseason, especially defensively, and running point for this team and getting to the paint, and creating some passing lanes and some driving lanes and some open 3-point shots, which is huge for a team in the postseason. And Ben Simmons is the X factor. If he's able to, play up to where we think he can play, this team's contending for sure. Best team in the East as of right now. Joel's getting healthier. Their team's kind of meshing well together right now. And, we'll see where it goes from here. Ben Simmons might be able to take that next step here in the postseason. And this team could also make a run. Them and the Nets, and the Bucks might be some teams we got to look out for over there in the East.
Yeah, I like that X factor because Ben Simmons is probably the most important X factor because of his ability to guard like a Giannis, to guard a Kevin Durant. He could guard Harden. Like, his defense is one thing, but him showing up and actually being aggressive on the offensive end is really important. However, my X factor is Tobias Harris. Toby. This year he's been overshadowed by the likes of Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, but he's really had a stellar year. Like he's become a better passer, a decent defender, and whenever Embiid's out, he really takes over that scoring, the scoring role, which is I think that was good for the Sixers for him to feel that he's the second option and give him that confidence. And having a confident Tobias Harris is a huge plus and a serious X factor for them to compete. He's 6'9", so he can guard KD or whoever, James. He can guard Chris Middleton. He's not a slouch, so yeah, I like Toby as the Philly X factor.
Next up, we got the Toronto Raptors. And, we all know about Kyle Lowry. We all know about Pascal Siakam. But my X factor is Fred VanVleet. We've seen him put up big games, big point games. And when he's healthy, it seems like, Toronto's able to compete, with a lot of these good teams out here. They added Gary Trent, another type guy who can put up some points, a younger guy. But with Fred, we have Lowry already there, established, championship point guard, kind of older. Pascal, all-star last year, very good player. He's capable. He's very good around the rim, down on offense. But Fred VanVleet, man, he's their main go-to scorer guy on offense. You got to put up those points. And, if he's able to shoot the way he shot in some of these games, then, this Toronto team is a lot better than what their record shows, in my opinion. I don't know why they've been so bad this year, in all honesty. Like, I had them in the playoffs for sure coming into it. Pretty good roster, pretty good coach. It just kind of fell apart this year. But yeah, in the hands of Fred VanVleet, like I said, he's your go-to guy on offense. You can kind of run plays for him, shoot the three, very aggressive scorer for sure. So, if he's able to, put up some points for this Toronto team, then, they could be able to. I don't think this is a year for him, but, Fred VanVleet's the X factor for me on Toronto.
Yeah, I like Freddie. He's a good player, good young player, undrafted. He kind of was doubted his whole career and got that big paycheck, so I respect that pick. I've got a young man, very bright, very good soul. His name's OG. Anunoby. How do you say it?
Anunoby.
Yeah, so it looks like the Raptors currently constructed, they're not going to make the playoffs. I don't know. Like Luke said, there's some turmoil. We don't know really what happened, that they were a shoo-in. But in terms of future asset, our future X factor, I think OG, and he's made strides as well. We all know he makes his money on the defensive end, but he's really becoming a three-point shooter consistently, and even now he's using that three-point shot, to get into the paint. He's making plays, and if he can keep developing his offensive game, he could be a scary player. So I have OG as the Toronto Raptors X factor.
Yeah, I like OG. It seems like he's really, making a name for himself.
Yeah, he was in our under 25, 25 under 25.
Yeah, man.
And I think he definitely proved us right. Thank you, OG.
Yeah, he's a great player even right now, but he's even got a lot more room to grow, I think. His game's still kind of raw. You can kind of see it in his game. He's still working some things out. He's still trying to figure out the game a little bit. But, they drafted him knowing he would be kind of a project. But he's really coming into his own, and it's exciting to see he could be, something really special for this team. When Lowry moves on, or did Siakam get a payday, or?
I don't know. Probably.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, once they start looking towards the future, as they should after this year, he's going to be one of those main guys they're building around for sure. So, yeah, I like that. I like him as an X factor, especially in the future.
Yeah, I like that.
Next up, we'll move on to the Central Division. Chicago Bulls. The X factor for me is Nikola Vucevic. We know Levine's the main guy there as of right now. Good player, great player. But they made some moves during the trade deadline, looking for his number 2, looking for his X factor. Nikola Vucevic is this guy here. He kind of had a slow start after getting moved from Orlando. But, it looks like he's starting to gain some more traction. He's not shooting the ball very efficiently, but, he's a great rebounder. He's a great offensive player at the center position. And, yeah, he's the X factor for sure. If he's able to, mesh with Levine and gain some chemistry and they can play off of each other, it'd be a great 1-2 punch from, the guard to the center position. It's nice to have that type of, combo in the NBA with, LeBron and AD and, Simmons and Joel and Jokic and Murray. They're trying to build that type of combo here in Chicago. We still haven't seen it out of Vooch yet here in Chicago, but if he's able to, reach what he was able to reach in Orlando and be able to play with Levine, match their basketball talent, it's going to be something special. So the X factor for me is Vooch, and it's if he's able to reach what he was able to reach in Orlando, but here with Levine and, those guys around him.
Are the Bulls going to be in the 10th seed?
Yeah, I think they're on the outside looking in, but they might be able to make this playing game here.
Okay. Well, if they are going to make the playoffs, my X factor is Thaddeus Young, the old wily vet, the forgotten one. And the reason is, for Thaddeus on Chicago this year has really, really became an all-around player. Smart. I didn't really think of Thaddeus as a smart player, when he was on the 76ers. I just, a scorer, a good rebounder. But he really, he flirts with triple-doubles a lot, which is something I never saw. And I just want to take some time out to shout out Thaddeus Young, that he's really a savant on the basketball court. And he really shows that if you work hard, watch film, and he makes people around him better. He's smart. He gets steals, blocks. He fills up the stat sheet, and he's a general. And I think he's kind of been overlooked too. But he's still playing surprisingly, and he's playing so darn well. It makes me happy. So I have Thaddeus Young as the X factor for the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, I like Thaddeus Young. I wish he would have gotten traded to a contender, so we could really see him, flourish with the contending team and really make that team better. He's a good player. He's been a good player for a long time. Philadelphia, Thaddeus Young was a borderline all-star. He was really, he can do everything really well, and you got to appreciate that. Especially in Chicago, they don't really have a guy that can kind of do everything well. They just have a bunch of guys who do one or two things really well, but he's kind of the glue guy there. I think he's an X factor for sure. But I do want to shout out Patrick Williams. I think he started every game for the Chicago Bulls team, young guy. But, man, he's going to be something special, in my opinion. I think people didn't really like the pick coming out of the draft this year, but I like it. I like it now, especially, he's playing every game. He's really looks like he wants to be a good player, and I really respect that, and I like him. I'm a fan.
And I also want to say Thaddeus got the start last night, and he had 29 and 8, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. That's what it'll do for you.
Yeah, he's a good player.
I forgot who was out, though.
Next up is the Cleveland Cavaliers, and my X factor is Darius Garland. He's been their best player this year for sure. He kind of had some moving parts here in Cleveland, with the trade deadline and everything.
The best player for sure.
The best X factor in my opinion.
Okay, because it's Colin that's the best player on the team.
I think Garland's the best player, but
right now?
Yeah, I think he's the best player in Cleveland.
No.
Yeah, Darius Garland's been a really good piece for Cleveland this year. Their point guard, it's kind of hard to say. I mean, they have Kevin Love, who just got back, and some other guys, but, Darius has really stepped up this year for this team. He's a good facilitator. He shoots the ball really well. And, yeah, I mean, this Cleveland team is looking for the future, so this X Factor is kind of for the future. And Darius Garland could be a great, asset for them to build around, to, add some guys who can play around him. Him and Sexton's there too, more of the shooting guard and the scorer for the team. But, Daryl's had a good year, 18 points, 2 rebounds, 6 assists. Not bad for a second-year guard. And, yeah, like I said, if he's able to continue to grow and they're able to build around him moving forward, Daryl's going to be the head of this team running the point. And he'll be the X factor in, what they're going to do in the future in terms of competing in the playoffs.
Yeah, I have Darius Garland as the X factor too, as a sidekick to Colin Sexton, the young bull. Because I think objectively everyone knows that Colin Sexton's got more superstar potential, but I think Darius can be a star. He's a better passer than Colin. His size kind of scares me, but he's very talented, and he's made that jump from year 1 to year 2, which is nice to see. And I think Colin and Darius Garland and maybe Jared Allen, they could be a nice little nucleus there. But I do like Darius, but I think we all know Colin Sexton's a star on that team.
I think Darius Garland's the best player on that team.
No.
Actually, I know he is.
Not right now.
Colin Sexton's not very good.
Yeah,
I'm going to be completely honest with everyone. I'm not afraid to say it. I don't think he's that good of a basketball player. He can score points. He can put up 20, 25 a game. But he doesn't affect the game in any way, shape, or form. He doesn't make the team better. He's just a guy. He's just an Alec Burks, and
what?
He's just
Alec Burks.
Just a guy who's going to put up, 15, 20, 25 points a game.
He had 8 assists. His assists are going up because Garland's out.
Because people are complaining about how he plays. If he's able to translate and, evolve his game to make other people better, then yeah, I could definitely see that.
He's young.
But as of right now, his style of play isn't good. It's not what you want to play with. It's not what you want to see.
He's not a finished product by any means.
No, he's not. I'm just saying, even right now, as of right now.
As an athlete, way more athletic than Darius Garland. Garland looks like a baby boy.
That doesn't mean, what does that have to do with anything?
He's not a young bull.
I'm talking basketball.
Yeah, he looks
I'm
like...
not talking athletic.
He's not a Steph
not
Curry.
Talking this. You don't have to be a freak athlete to be good. Jokic.
Colin dropped 40-something on the Nets.
Yeah, but, I mean, like I said, he could still grow.
He's better defensively, too.
He could still be a really good player. I'm just saying, as of right now, I'm not a fan. I don't think he's a great basketball player right now. And I'm not saying he can't be. I'm not saying
he doesn't have anyone around him either.
His potential isn't there. But just his style of play, and it just doesn't evolve into, someone who could be a star or even an all-star, in my opinion. I mean, to be an all-star, you have to make people better. You really have to corral your team and be the leader and be something great for your team. But from what I've heard, his teammates don't like him.
What?
They complain about his style of play, I don't blame him.
This is blasphemy. This never happened.
Look it up,
This
man.
is all sports people you'd probably heard
I'm the middleman, for sure.
Yeah, that's lies. They love Colin.
You don't know, but...
And first of all, he has no one around him. Like, how is he... Like, who's C.D. Osman? Darius Garland? Isaac Okoro? Larry Nance?
Yeah, but I mean, you can say that about a lot of
people.
I mean, I'm not saying he can't be good. I'm just saying, as of right now, I'm not a big fan. I don't think
I've never heard
that
they don't like him.
Like, every time he has the ball, they're not getting the ball.
You're saying that because that's how you feel.
Various Cap players still grow frustrated by the way Colin Sexton dominates the ball and opponents taunt them by saying during the games, he's not going to pass you the ball.
Who's the source?
Teammates aren't.
Who's the source?
Joe Varden.
No, that guy's a liar.
Cover NBA for The Athletic.
Liar.
I mean, I'm not hating. He could be good.
You hate Colin Sexton.
No. I mean, like you said, man, they
Every
haven't surrounded him with great talent, great shooters, whatever you need. He still has room to grow. Yeah, I know, but I mean, he just doesn't make Cleveland better right now. And that could be a lack of people around him.
Darius.
That could be. Yeah, but Darius does a lot of different things, man. He's just a better player. I mean, I don't know.
He's not.
That's my opinion. But we'll move on. We'll do the Detroit Pistons. Who do you have as the X Factor in Detroit?
The X Factor in Detroit. I don't know.
The X Factor for me is Killian Hayes. Their young first-round pick they drafted. They still have Jeremy Grant, Plumlee here. Kind of guys you have right now. I guess Grant's still the number one, but the X Factor for me is Killian Hayes. Been out most of the year with an injury. But, if he's able to stay healthy and continue to adjust to the NBA lifestyle, NBA game, he's going to be a really good player for them. He'll be their franchise point guard. Ever since he's came back, he's shown flashes of some, great contribution to the team, offensively and defensively. He's had 11 assist games. He's had close to double-double games. And, it's just a matter of, if he can stay healthy and continue to tap into his potential. Because with Detroit, this is another team, looking past this year, past next year. They're looking for some future assets to finally build up and compete. And they took an early round risk on Hayes last year. And he's the X factor for this team. You don't waste an early first-round pick on a player if you don't expect him to be really good for your team moving forward. I love Killian Hayes. I had him as my Rookie of the Year pick. I think he's a good player. I'm a big fan. And it's exciting to see him, back in the game. And like I said, if he's able to continue to grow, keep reaching that potential, then, this team could be, exciting if they're able to build around him. So I have Killian Hayes as my X Factor.
I thought of one. Isaiah Stewart? Yeah, he's the big guy for Detroit. I wanted to make sure I got his name right. But he's like Ben Wallace Jr. He's not the tallest, but he's active on the boards. He's physical. He's actually not a bad shooter. Husky, bruiser, and I like the way he plays. We saw him play live, and he's whenever he gets the start, he puts up numbers. I think he had 18 rebounds one game. I think he has a bright future with that young Detroit franchise. So my X factor is Isaiah Stewart.
Yeah, I like Isaiah Stewart. They kind of moved towards, playing their young guys. Ever since then, he's averaged 11, 9, and 2 blocks. 11 points, 9 rebounds, 2 blocks. And that just, shows what he's capable of doing. Kind of a smaller Clint Capella, but a little more physical. But in terms of, statistics and, rebounding and defending, I think he's that, level of a player for sure. I like that. Next up is the Indiana Pacers. You got an X factor?
For the Pacers? Well, the X factor for me is Sabonis. Young. I think he, people, claim that LeVert's, that's his franchise whenever he's, back in the swing of things. But I think at the end of the day, Sabonis is the best player and has the brightest future. Yesterday, I think he had 22, 11, and 11 at halftime, which is insane. And he's a really good player in terms of how hard he works and how hard he plays. Like, he's one of those guys that tries really hard, so when you're playing against him, you get real frustrated because he's never taken a play off or anything. Smart, He would get on my nerves if I played against him, but he's just all around really talented. He's got NBA in his genes from his daddy. And I think, in terms of Indiana Pacers' future, he's the X factor to get things a-rolling.
Yeah, the X factor for me for Indiana is Karis LeVert. You have Brogdon, you have Sabonis, you guys are there. But to make that next step, you got to have the guy that you made a move for, that you traded Oladipo, one of your best players the last few years, to get a younger guy. And LeVert, he's got good potential, great scorer. And, ever since he's been back, man, he's been pretty good for this team. 22 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. It's pretty solid for, their third fiddle guy. And, he's the X factor for me depending on where this franchise wants to go. If they want to be, a good playoff team, somewhat of a contender, you're going to have a scorer and LeVert, a guard, a wing who can knock down shots. They say he's mini Durant. I don't necessarily agree with that, but, a guy who can put up your points, a guy who can rebound and, just facilitate offensively too. You have Sabonis there. Brogdon's another stud player. But, they're stuck where they're stuck in purgatory right now, man. They're right there on the brinks, but they looks like they can never move up or kind of stuck in the same spot. They need LeVert to kind of excel this team forward. Sabonis does his thing. Brogdon does his thing every night. They put up big numbers, but, they lose games they don't need to be losing. I'd say T.J. McConnell's another X factor, but I'm going to stick with LeVert because of his potential and, how he can kind of, take this team up to the next level. Next up is the Milwaukee Bucks. Who's your X factor?
Jrue Holiday with a J. I like Jrue. I think he brings that nastiness to the Milwaukee Bucks that they've been searching for. I think it was a good trade. I know at the beginning of the season I was like, they had a rocky start, but with Jrue in there, it makes them more of a physical, defensive, scarier team. And he's no slouch on the offensive end, a good shooter. But I think in terms of matchups, he makes them a lot scarier because he can match up with their best guard, give Giannis, room to roam around. I think he is an X factor defensively and offensively. And I think he the grittiness and his IQ, his offensive prowess as well. I think he does it on both ends. And I really like the season he's had. I think he, like I said, he's brought that grittiness. He's going to bring it every game. And so my X factor for the Bucks to make that next leap, maybe get to the Eastern Conference Finals, maybe slip into the championship. They haven't had a guard like this. They had Malcolm Brogdon, but Jrue Holiday with Giannis, Chris Middleton, Brook Lopez. I think that's they have the potential. They could surprise some people in the playoffs and make a little run up in there.
Yeah, you mentioned they have a lot of X factors as well. Lopez, Middleton, DiVincenzo, Jrue Holiday, Bobby Portis. A lot of guys who are pretty good players. It's a really solid team, really good team. I'd be shocked if they weren't in the conference finals, in my opinion. But, yeah, I think Holiday is kind of their X factor. He's been playing well. You know what you're going to get out of Lopez. You know what he brings. You know what you're going to get out of Middleton. Kind of the second fiddle offensively to Giannis. But Holiday's going to be that guy who, he's been there. He's a vet. We've seen him play in New Orleans. We saw what he was able to do for them. He made that team a good team, even though they shouldn't have been a good team. But being the third player, third fiddle on this team and, the best defending point guard on this team, it's going to mean a lot for this team in the playoffs. You're going to have guys, guards are going to go up against Kyrie, James, Simmons. Guys like this, you're going to need an elite defender. And, Jrue Holiday is that guy for them. They made that trade for him in the offseason because they were looking for that, elite defender. And he's no slouch offensively. You said it yourself. And he can put up points. He can score. He can shoot. And Drew Holiday's a good player, so yeah, he's the X factor for me. Next up, Southeast Division, Atlanta Hawks. Who's your X factor?
Bogdanovich.
Bogdan?
Bogdanovich?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like him. Kind of a crazy off season, and he was injured for a while. But once he was inserted into the starting lineup or in the lineup and started playing, and they also got a new head coach, Nate McMillan. The Hawks went on an 8-game winning streak, and he was putting up points. Then Trae Young got hurt, and they kept their winning ways going on the shoulders of Bogdanovich. I think it was well known around the NBA that he's a very, very talented player. It would have been interesting if he actually did go to the Bucks, but I think that he's the X factor because we all know Trae Young's gonna shoot from the logo, shoot threes, do the pick and roll with Clint Capella. We know what Capella does, double machine. John Collins is there, but Bogdanovich, he brings a different element to this offense. He can drive, he can shoot, he's crafty. He's just something that adds another dimension to this offense, which makes them that much harder to guard. They don't have to they can't just key in on Trae. You can't just trap him off picks, because you have to worry about Bogdanovich, the damage that he can do because he's so talented. And I really think he's super underrated, but I think people are starting to recognize, the Kings are super dumb for letting him walk for nothing and not matching because that guy is young and talented, and he was definitely an asset. But the Hawks, they got him, and he's the X factor if they're going to make a little run there.
Yeah, I like that one. I think he's absolutely an X factor for the Atlanta Hawks if they want to contend. But, they have a lot of X factors. Capella, Gallinari, John Collins, Bogdanovich, Kevin Huerter, guys like that. But, my X factor is John Collins. He's their, second, kind of the second fiddle, kind of stud player to Trae Young. Clint Capella's been outstanding for this team. It doesn't matter. They still lose big games when Capella has big games. Because Capella's very one-dimensional, two-dimensional. Rebounds, protects the paint, blocks. And he's not very strong. He's not physical. But, my X factor is John Collins because he's a forward, offensive-minded forward for this Atlanta Hawks team. He's kind of been hit or miss this year. Hasn't really strung it all together this year for them. But I think, in my opinion, that's the reason why they haven't been as good as they should be, is John Collins. So, if he's able to make strides in the second half, and he could really excel this team because they've obviously, waved the white flag on playing defense this year with, the people they acquired in the offseason. They need more out of John Collins. So, Bogdanovich has stepped up. He's been great. Clint Capella's been pretty good. Trae Young's been good. But to really take this team to the next level, they need John Collins to, play the way he should be playing, to play the way that we know he can play. And this team could really be good, man. Like, when they made those off-season moves, we expected this team to be pretty good, or at least better. But, some people are playing well. John Collins isn't playing as he should be playing, so he's the X factor for me. If he's able to, just play, man. Go play your game, man. Be you. Play strong, play healthy, and this team could be good, man. If John Collins is able to, make strides, yeah, good team, solid team. Next up is the Charlotte Hornets. X factor for me is Terry Rozier. Been their best player all year long, man, all year long, day in, day out. You get LaMelo Ball, it's healthy again. But Terry Rozier, he's always been known for, a smaller guy who can score points at will. Inconsistent player, his whole career. But now being the alpha dog here on the Charlotte Hornets team, playoff team, they've been pretty good this season. They need Scary Terry to be the Scary Terry who's consistent night in, night out, who's putting up points, who's their primary scorer. we just need to see him continue to play the way he's played in the postseason. You know, if he's able to do that, Charlotte can make some noise. They have some other guys on this team who are also X factors. Washington, Bridges, Ball, Zeller, big guys. But, you know, it's all in the hands of Terry Rozier. Like I said, with Julius Randle, this team's not where it is without Rozier or without Randle. So wherever Terry goes, this is where the Hornets team is going to go. And hopefully he can continue to play well. I'd like to see, you know, Charlotte continue to make runs here, especially with postseason coming up. And, yeah, he's been a really good player for them this year, and it's going to ride on his hands for sure.
Yeah, I love Scary Terry, but everything you said, you know, summed it up. My X factor for the Charlotte Hornets is Miles Bridges. And that may be a surprise, but not really to anyone if you've been watching his game lately. With the injuries to LaMelo Ball, Gordon Hayward, you know, Terry missed a few games. He has ascended into an actual option in this offense. He's shooting threes better. Of course, we know he attacks the rim like it's a barbecue chicken. Man, that boy can jump out of the gym. But besides that, he's becoming a very, very good basketball player. And I think with those injuries, he was able to gain confidence. And if he can keep this confidence going even when people are returning, that roster is very interesting, and I think he could be a big factor, which is why he's my X factor, because he is such a good basketball player and does so many different things. So my X factor for the Charlotte Hornets is Bounce Miles Bridges.
Yeah, I like that. I like Miles. Miami Heat is up next. Their X factor for me is Bam Adebayo. He's, you know, some would argue he's their best player. Jimmy Butler's there too, great player as well. They do have some other X factors: Kendrick Nunn, Dragic, you know, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson. They do have some players. We've seen them in the championship game last year. But the reason Bam is my X factor is because the reason they were in the championship last year was because of Bam Adebayo. He was unreal. He was an outstanding basketball player last postseason. They aren't where they are without Bam Adebayo. So for them to continue to compete, for them to rise up in contention, you know, make runs in the postseason, they need that crazy level of that we've seen from Bam Adebayo. He's the reason they were there. He's the reason that they're going to do anything is on the hands of Bam Adebayo. Averaged 19, 9, and 5 assists. You know, really, really good. But, you know, for them to really jump up, to really be something special, that needs to jump up even more. That needs to be 25 and 11. That needs to be the Bam Adebayo we saw last year. It doesn't matter. They have good players around them, but, you know, the ball's in the hands of Bam a lot of the games. His little mid-range jumper. It rides on him. It's a matter of, you know, how can we get Bam to dominate this game offensively and defensively, and that's how they're going to win games. That's how they're going to get into the playoffs, and that's how they're going to compete.
You said it, brother. My X factor is also Bam. And I know Miami's had a very strange COVID season. A lot of people in and out of the lineup. The only consistent piece has been Bam. And like he rights the ship. He had that game winner. That's a mid-range game winner, which was very impressive.
Mid-range is deadly, man.
Yeah, and I really like that. Like, he's just been that consistent guy. He needs, and I'm sure, when playoffs comes around, playoff Jimmy's going to put on his big boy shorts. And, they have those, Duncan Robinson's the youngest player to get 500 career threes. They really haven't clicked on all cylinders, but the lone bright spot has been Bam. But as an X factor, like you said, he's going to have to, pick up some of the slack that's going around if their other players don't, right the ship. If they don't, like Tyler Hero's like shooting terribly. Duncan, hot and cold, Dragic. But like you said, Bam needs to step up his game when playoffs come around, and so they can make a run. So therefore, he is my Miami Heat X Factor, Miami Vice, baby, on the street day and night.
Next up is the Orlando Magic. This one's interesting. You know, they've had a lot of moving pieces. You know, Vucevic was there at some point. All these Evan Fournier, Aaron Gordon. You know, guys in and out. X factor for me moving forward is Mo Bamba.
Yeah,
it's Mo Bamba because they've gotten rid of a lot of bigs, man. They got rid of Vucevic. Kim Birch was there. They dropped him in hopes that Mo Bamba could step up. They did make a move for Wendell Carter, who I think is their guy kind of moving forward. But Mo Bamba is the X factor for me because he was drafted fourth overall?
Something like that, top 10.
Yeah, top 10 range by this Orlando team. Kind of, you know, he does play in some games, low minutes, kind of his whole career. But now, you know, with all the moves and all the pieces they got rid of, they expect Mo Bamba to come in, get some minutes, and play because they spent a lot of draft capital, there's a lot of pedigree to Mo Bamba. You know, he's a top recruit going into Texas. He played extremely well in Texas. Everyone thought he was a freak. You know, his big size, put up good numbers, blocked like 6 shots a game. You know, gets drafted to Orlando thinking this is our future defensive anchor, our future, you know, offensive. He can space the floor too. He can shoot a little bit, big guy. You know, he's a special talent. He really is. X factor for me, you know, continue to get minutes, continue kind of to mold him into what you expect out of him. You know, Wendell Carter's there to solidify your center position, but, you know, your team's such a project right now. Just let Mo Bamba play his game. If he's able to reach his potential, even if he reaches not even his full potential, but, you know, 80%, you know, you got a really, really, really solid, special player on your hands.
Yeah, I love Mo Bamba. I like the player and I like the song. But you made very good points. Shaq West. That's so cool that he's not like a superstar, but he has a song named after him. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, shout out Shaq West, man.
Yeah, but I like everything you said. And the weird thing is, I think like injuries have really stunted his career. But like you said, they spent a lot of draft capital. But yet, even when he's healthy right now, they limit him to like 20 minutes a game. I'm like, and he's starting to put up numbers, you know, like he's shooting threes, he blocks shots, like you know that when he's going to play. And it's like, yeah, you traded for Wendell Carter, he's younger or whatever, but why not just see what he has, give him 30 minutes a game? Like, I don't know, but I like that pick. But my X factor is Cole Anthony, because he's got that late game swagger, the Dame, the dagger threes that he's been making. I mean, it was like the first week of the season. I think he had like he was running full sprint and stopped on a dime and hoisted a three and nailed it. And he had one yesterday. And I really liked his interview after. If you guys want to check it out, great guy. But I think he has an it factor, or the ice water in his veins factor, which is very rare these days with these millennials. They always get hurt over a tweet, over a snap, over an Instagram. We know Cole Anthony's going to put on his helmet, and he's going to put on his bulletproof vest, and he's going to go to war. He's going to go to war with these guys. They might not be the best, but I think he's a general, and I like that about him. And I think he's going to work hard, and that's why he's my Orlando Magic X Factor.
Yeah, cool. I like Cole Anthony. This Orlando team is very strange for sure, but, you know, Cole Anthony gives him a bright spot after, you know, what he's been able to do this year. Next up is the Washington Wizards, another interesting team, another stink team. You have their 2 guys, Bill and Russell, who've had absolutely great years, both of them. Bradley Beal still leads the league in points. Russell Westbrook's been literally unreal. We're literally seeing, like, MVP level Russell Westbrook. Yeah, he's not in consideration because Washington stinks.
I don't think they're that bad. Aren't they?
The
Like
team stinks. I
yeah, but
guess.
they're like the 8th seed.
Maybe.
They've won a lot.
You don't
lately.
hear anything. You just hear Russell or Beal. You don't really, you're not,
That's all they got, really.
you never see them. They're not on TV. They're not talked about ever.
Yeah.
But my X Factor is Roy Hachimura. Another young guy, another guy they spent a high draft capital on. He's been a solid guy. He's missed a lot of time with injuries. He's an inconsistent player, but like I said, he's still trying to find his game out here. He's averaged 14 points, 5 rebounds, and that's pretty much about it. But that's not bad for a young guy. I think they expect him to be the number 3 option on this team at some point. And yeah, I mean the talent around this Washington team isn't good. A lot of just pieces thrown onto this roster. But Rari, it could be a little diamond in the rough. He could be able to spread his wings at some point and be a great number 1, number 2, depending on what happens with Russell. It sounds like Bill will be here a long time. And, Roy Hachimura is a guy that could really blossom into something special for this team and, moving forward. And I think they expect that out of him, and I do think he's capable of it. So Roy Hachimura is the X factor for Washington in the future.
My X Factor is a man, a myth, a legend. Probably the hardest playing man in the NBA has ever seen, the world has ever seen. And his name is Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, David Lee Lewis.
Yeah. And the reason is, if he's playing out of his mind, if he can continue to play out of his mind, which he shows he can do consistently now on the Wizards. He's looking like OKC Westbrook. My reason he's an X factor is if he, in a playoff series, when it gets down to crunch time, he doesn't shoot those Russell Westbrook shots that he bricks more than he makes. If he can, because now he has Bradley Beal. If he can defer to Bradley Beal to make those big shots and resist the urge to try to be a hero and just be a dog the whole game, and then whenever it's close at the end, let the finisher, the NBA leading scorer, do his thing. You know what I mean? Thank you. But yeah, that's the X factor for the Wizards for me, is Russie boy.
Yeah, I like it a lot, man.
Thanks,
I love
dog.
that, man. I like a little Russell Westbrook, a little dog in the making.
Yeah, he's a little dog.
Next up we have, we're moving up to the Northwest Division.
Is that the Western?
Top 3 teams are very solid. Bottom 2 teams are very bad. But
Let's get into it.
Very interesting division.
Ballers.
It's going to be a fun one. First up is the Denver Nuggets going out to Colorado.
Shouts.
X factor for me, Jokic is the guy. We all know Jokic is the doggiest of the dogs.
Yeah.
The Diet Coke drinking, donut smelling, roof topless,
No
drinking,
muscles at all.
blubber whale of a man.
Always has a runny nose.
But X factor for me, now that Jamal Murray is out, Facundo Campazzo. A little young 29-year-old. Don't know where he's from. Don't even know if
He's from Argentina.
Don't even know if I said his name right. Actually, I do know where he's from. He was on the Argentinian national team, and he was actually really good.
Yeah, he's a dog. He's like a player you hate to play. He's a pest.
Dude, he's been really good. He's stepped up. He's had some big games for him already. But he's an X factor for me because such a big void hole having to fill with Jamal Murray out. Barton's there. He's kind of...
he's out.
He's out too.
PJ Dozier.
I don't think he's very good. Dozier's a good guy.
He's all right.
But Facundo's filling 30 minutes a game. This guy's going to be playing a lot. Monte Morris is out. He probably would have been my X factor. But Campazzo, man, he's been there. He's done that. He's played against all the different talents in the world in Argentina and now in the NBA. He's very smart, very, very feisty, pesty, smaller, smart. Just a guy who can kind of do it all. He's great facilitator, shoot the ball really well. Actually shoot the ball really well.
Really?
He's been shooting lights out, yeah. And actually, percentages like the whole year aren't great, but recently he's kind of stepped up. His 3-point shooting's really good.
I know he hit the dagger last night.
Yeah, like
in the corner.
He's the X factor to me because Jamal Murray is a big hole you got to fill, but if you can match his 3-point shooting, and you're not going to match his scoring, but if you can shoot the ball with Jokic, and I would say Aaron Gordon's an X factor as well, but
he's staying.
A guard. You need a guard to step up for Murray. And in my opinion, he's the guy because the experience and the savviness and the guy who can kind of fill this hole. So if he's able to, even be, 50%, 60% of what Jamal Murray can do, won't be as good as they would be with Jamal, but, if he can kind of, patch a Band-Aid over the wound, maybe he can, just hold it off long enough, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that guy was not on my radar, but I like it. I like the points you made. My X factor has a lot to do with what you said, the Jamal Murray injury. But this guy is
Michael Porter
Jr., baby, MPJ. And he is a freak in terms of scoring.
I've got a bold question for you.
Yeah.
Is he going to be a top 5? Is he going to be a top 10 scorer in 5 years in the NBA?
Yes.
Right,
I think he's showing that potential. Like, he's an elite scorer on every level. But like you said, like, you got to fill the void of Jamal Murray's injury, and I think he's increased his scoring significantly, and that's what they need. And he's getting better defensively, but yeah, he could light that fire, man, and they can make that run. He's a tall boy.
Yeah, I agree. His scoring's definitely there. He's definitely improved, but the big thing with MPJ is just health. If he can be healthy, you know what I mean?
He's been relatively healthy all year.
He's been healthy all year. If he can stay healthy, yeah, he could really be something special.
He could be a superstar.
I wouldn't go there.
What about Bol Bol?
It's still a small sample size. I think he's only played 50 games this year, so I'll hold off on.
But look at the bubble.
Him being a top 10 scorer, but I think he could be a really good player for them.
Yeah.
He's still young. He's still got a lot of room to go. I like it, though. I think he can, definitely step up in the scoring column for Denver with Jamal out. Next up is Minnesota Timberwolves, Stink Wolves. Their X Factor is, I didn't want to, but their X Factor is Anthony Edwards.
Ant-Man, baby.
Yeah, it's between him or D'Angelo Russell. D'Angelo's back. He's had some good games, had some bad games, per usual. Anthony Edwards, first overall pick, a lot of expectations, a lot of potential. He's the X factor for this future Minnesota team. Do what you want with D'Angelo Russell in the future, but you two guys are Cat and Anthony Edwards. Everything else, he's going to be, mixing and matching different pieces until you're able to, build up a good Minnesota team. Anthony Edwards, he's shown flashes of some big nights, some big dunks, very aggressive offensively. Love to see it. He's going to be a really good scorer in this league. I would say he does lack, playmaking, but you don't draft Anthony Edwards, expecting him to be this great playmaker. You expect him to be a game changer. You expect him to be aggressive. You expect him to be high flying. You expect him to be this next superstar level offensive forward for you. Him and Cat moving the ball down the field, handing the ball off to each other. Touchdown, Buffalo Bills. That's what I'm talking about, Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, boy! I got Anthony Edwards, too, the Ant-Man, a.k.a. Junior Jong. You gave a lot of good reasons. He's getting better at shot selection. He used to shoot like 30 shots and make 12.
Yeah, he's got to work on efficient shooting.
Yeah, he's getting better, and he's also passing well now. Rebounding, he's getting steals.
It's crazy because he's gotten a lot better even 1 year.
In his rookie season, he's progressed, and that's what you want to see out of a star that you drafted number one.
100%. Yeah.
So
You've seen it with LaMelo. He's going to be a stud. You've seen it with Ant. He's going to be a stud.
Yeah, but just
Patrick Williams as well.
Yeah, seeing that progression is very, very. Minnesota should be happy, and he's a great kid, great rapper. He's got bars.
Dude, yeah, and his interviews are 10
Hilarious.
out of 10. Like,
Yeah.
he's a great kid.
Yeah, like I would hang out with him.
They'd probably kiss on him, too.
You heard it here
Not
first.
physically, not physically.
Oh, just mentally
Yeah.
or spiritually?
All of the above, except for
Wow.
maybe not physically.
He'd kiss someone physically, trust me. But yeah, I love, I have a, good relationship with Anthony Edwards, and I like him a lot.
Yeah, he's a big fan. Aaron believes he's going to be the best of this draft class. I'm still on the LaMelo Ball train, though.
Did you see LaMelo's pass?
Yeah, underhand.
That was crazy.
It looked like nonchalant, like he didn't even care.
He didn't think twice. He just did it, and it was a great pass.
Yeah.
Who does that? That's like, who used to do that? The guy,
White Chocolate?
No, Pete
Jason
Maravich.
Kidd?
Pete Maravich would always
dude,
throw
Pete
it.
Maravich. Please go look up Pete Maravich.
His passes.
He was
man.
so good, and no one cares.
He put the bend, and even LaMelo put the bend on it.
And no one knows how Pete Maravich died. It's interesting. Please go look into him.
It was a Bermuda Triangle.
It's very cool. He's a very insanely talented basketball player.
Yeah. So we agree that it's Ant-Man.
Yeah, he's the X factor for this team right now. Next up, Oklahoma City Thunder, another interesting team. SGA, star player, easy, stud, build around him. X factor's Lou Dort. We've seen him make strides this year as it is right now, averaging 14 points a game. Known for being that defensive specialist, locking down James Harden in the playoffs. He is a monster defensively. He's a pest. Very, very skilled defensively. Plays very hard. He's up there with Russell Westbrook in terms of playing hard. He gives his heart. He gives his soul. He gives his mind. And he's just, he's another young guy that this Oklahoma City team could possibly, use moving forward, build around moving forward with SGA. If he can continue to make strides, man, that's all it comes down to. He's taking steps forward, what you want to see with a guy who's known for only defense, but offensively he's bringing it as well, man. He's put up 20-point games, averaging 14 on the year. Continue to make strides, continue to progress, and this is another young player that can join SGA on this rebuild, on this project of the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah, I agree with your sentiment on Lou Dort.
What a name.
Yeah, it's very easy. It rolls off the tongue. I was gonna say Moses Brown, but I don't know.
Oh no, he stinks. Someone get Moses Brown off the court.
How dare you?
No, I don't think he's very good.
I don't think he is either anymore.
He had that crazy run, but in all honesty, I think
he had like 20 rebounds.
I don't think he's an NBA level player, honestly.
Have you seen his shorts?
I do like the short shorts.
Thank you.
I do like that. And that run that he had was mabulous. Mactavius.
He wears SGA shorts.
Really?
Because he's out, but he wants them to play in spirit, so he puts on them shorts.
Ah, I like that. That's cool. What a guy.
Yeah. And they weren't washed.
Oh, he actually wears his shorts? Or he wears them to tribute SGA?
Like, SGA will wear them in practice and get them all, swampy. And then Moses wears them in the game so that it's like SGA is playing in spirit.
Oh, it looks like something he would do.
Yeah.
Probably smells his underwear.
Yeah, there might be some weird part of it that we don't know about, but that's just what he claims he does. He probably just wears them on his head when everyone leaves the locker room.
Yeah, who knows, man? He probably does a panty.
He probably wears his jock strap too.
He probably does a panty raid in SGA's locker.
I wouldn't be surprised with that 7'2" freak.
Portland Trailblazers X Factor for me, Jusuf Nurkic. I had CJ McCollum, but we all love CJ McCollum. We already know what he is. Nurkic, health. Be healthy. Stay healthy. Play healthy. Look healthy. Smell healthy. Eat healthy. Drink healthy. Pee healthy. Poop healthy. That's all we need out of this.
Be healthy, baby.
That's what we need. We've
vitamins.
Seen a healthy Nurkic, man, is a double-double machine. He's he's one of the best offensive centers in the league. I will put my foot down on that. He's not fully healthy right now, but once he gets full health, we saw it in 2019. 2018. He is a freak offensively, good rebounder. What, did he have like a triple-double one time with like 20 and 20? Do you remember that?
Was it this year?
No, it was like last year, 2 years ago.
Yeah, he's a very good player.
Yeah,
He's the only player that's a redheaded brunette.
Yeah, he looks like he's.
When
Jack
he cut his
Harlow's
hair,
sister.
it turned back to brown, and his beard turned brown. But when he grew it out, it was red.
Yeah,
He must be some kind of Squatch.
Yeah, maybe he's Neanderthalic.
Yeah, it was very interesting. I don't know, because no one can dye their hair that color.
Yeah, who knows? But he's the X factor for me. He's a really good player. It's just, if he's healthy, this team's stacked with talent. They are a good team this year. They actually put it together. Normally they kind of fall apart, but too many good players on this team. Norman Powell is another one that I'd like to shout out. I love Norman Powell.
Stormin Norman is my X factor.
Yeah, Lemonade Stan Norman.
Whoa.
Jusuf Nurkic, get healthy, get back to playing. This team will make some runs. I know for 30 cents on the dollar, I can tell you.
They're going to be a tough out in a 7-game series with all the... My X factor is Norman Powell.
Yes,
because he can shoot that ball into the net. He's like the gravy train assassin, man. He'd shoot that ball to get go in the nets. And I think that with all that shooting, I mean, they got CJ, they got
Cantor, Rocco, Carmelo's.
Who's that stink guy? Dante Jones.
I don't know why you mention him every time. You don't need to.
Because he can't shoot and he stinks.
Okay.
Thank you. But I got Norman, the Stormin Norman. Yeah, he's related to Norman Bates, Psycho Killa. And that's what I'm going to go with, X Factor, because he's going to make the biggest shot for the Trailblazers this year in a playoff series. Mark it, bet it, put it there.
Yeah, put it on the ground, sniff it, smell it,
pick up what I'm putting down.
Yes, please.
Thank me later.
Next up, we have the Utah Jazz. Contending team, putting it together, putting it on, putting it off. My X Factor, for me, it's not Donnie, it's not Rudy Gobert.
Overrated.
Hey, you better watch your tongue. The X Factor for me...
You want me to go first?
Is Mike Conley.
Oh, that old guy?
Yeah, I'm going with Mike Conley because this team is currently contending right now. Right now, they can play the game. They can win the game. They need it in the hands of Mike Conley. You have Gobert. You know what he does. We have Donnie Mitchell, star player. We know what he does. We need Mike Conley. We need the Grizzlies' Mike Conley. He finally has the opportunity to compete for a title. Never had the chance with the Grizzlies. They were really good for a really long time, but were never that team that could get there. This is the time Mike Conley swipes it off the back of his jersey, and he gets to playing the ball, and he gets to playing with this Utah team, and they play hard. And Mike Conley has something to prove. He wants to win that ring, and if he's able to carry this team, continue to play really strong for this team, they will be strong and sturdy. They're a healthy team as of right now. Lakers aren't healthy right now. Clippers aren't healthy right now. Let's make a run on the hands of Mike Conley, Donnie Mitch, Jordan Clarkson, Bogdanovich, and Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, I like Mike James Conley. But my X Factor is a little younger, a little sprier. His name is Jordan Clarkson.
Yes, Jordan Farmar.
And the reason they were the top seed in the West was because of his hot, stellar 6-man play right off the bench. It's like putting popcorn in the microwave, give him a minute and a half, and that thing's going to be ready to go, and that guy's ready to shoot at any moment. He's gone through a little bit of a slump. But if he catches fire during the playoff run, there could be trouble in the West Coast Western Conf, and you better get your coffee ready because it's going to have to stay up late because they play the mountain time.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Geographies.
All right, next team we have up here is the Golden State Warriors.
Oh, boring.
Yeah, man, let's bring back Monte Ellis.
Yeah, let's bring back Jay Rich.
That's what I'm saying.
Matt Barnes.
Just for like a game or two.
Steve Jack. Barron.
This team's full of stink. That's all I know. We have Steph Curry, legend. That's it. Draymond Green still stinks. Andrew Wiggins still stinks. Kelly Oubre still stinks.
Oubre.
But the X factor on this team is James Wiseman. You spent an early round pick on him. What do we have in this guy? What do we see in this man? Let's get him the ball. Let's build around him. Klay Thompson's not healthy. Let's make a run in 2022. This is a throwaway year. Curry's still going to Curry regardless. Let's try to move Wiggins. Let's try to move Oubre off this team, get Klay back, bring in some more guys. My concern is they try to trade Wiseman away for a star caliber type player, which unfortunately is more than likely in my opinion. But if this team decided to stick this man around, get Klay back, keep Steph, Draymond's here, move Wiggins, move Oubre, bring in
Oubre.
Bring in another star type of player. Go get Kevin Love, man. Go get Bradley Beal. Go get one more piece, and Wiseman's able to stay. That would be a wonderful thing. And young guy, great jump shot, great rebounder, good defensive, just a whole, just oozing with talent. James Wiseman, we know it. High recruit out of Memphis, absolute freak, second overall pick. He's got the pedigree. Let's see what we have in this man. If this is a lost season, but next year, if he's able to take that next stride, this team finally has a legit center that can do offensive things. Bogut was there, stink, defensively really good. JaVale McGee was there at some point. But now you have an established young center, extremely skilled offensively.
Thank you for the knowledge. It's 8:04 and Draymond still stinks.
Yes.
My X factor is Klay. Yeah, but he's an X factor because if he's back, we're back, and we're back in the championship.
We're back, baby.
Because those guys can shoot from Matagorda Bay and make it into Galveston Island tiki wheat. And that's my X factor because Splash Brothers, they're back together. You can call it a family reunion. Who we introducing? Klay Thompson, championships, good.
Yeah, next up is another difficult one, is the Los Angeles Clippers. You got your two main guys. You got them real good on there. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George.
Reggie Jackson.
Reggie Jackson stinks.
Luke Kennard.
Stinks.
Luke's the best.
I'm going to say my X Factor is Marcus Morris. He's their third leading scorer. He's averaging almost 14 points a game. He catches fire in the playoffs. We've seen it before. He can stroke the ball, and he can stroke it. He's not scared to shoot. One possession, he'll shoot the three, make the three.
Calm, slow down, buddy.
Next position, he'll shoot the mid-range, hit the mid-range. Next
Hey,
position,
man,
he'll come
excited.
down, he'll hit the three. That's what you need. You need a guy who's not scared to shoot on this Clippers
I don't
team.
trust twins.
Shh. I'm trying to speak. What I'm trying to say is Marcus Morris is the X factor on this team because a lot of these players stink. Marcus Morris is their third leading scorer, and you need him. You're going to need Marcus Morris. As stinky as that sounds, he's been a good player for them the last few years. Rondo could be an X factor. Yeah, he's honestly looks really good. It's really weird. Reggie Jackson stinks. I don't care if he's an X factor or not. He's not very good at the NBA game. Luke Kennard could be an X factor, but he's not. Victor Zubac or Serge Ibaka
That's mine.
are also ones.
Maybe if you didn't say the whole team, I can get my guy out
But you
there.
can still talk about them.
Yeah, but I wanted to say him before you mention him.
Why?
Because it makes me sound smart.
But yeah, Marcus Morris, the X factor.
You don't have to go through the
points.
whole lineup.
Thank you. Relax.
Serge Ibaka is mine. Defense, rebounding, stretching the court. Been there. He's done it. He's from Congo. He's got really good genes. And I have him as my X factor.
Next up is the Los Angeles Lakers. They're getting healthier, man. They're getting AD's back. LeBron came back last night. X factor for me is Dennis Schroeder. I think that's pretty easy. He's been their main guy with those two guys out. 16 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. Been pretty solid for them. He's their main guy with the ball in his hands. Outside of LeBron, guard. He's getting paid a lot of money. He's looking for an off-season contract extension with the team. He's looking to get paid, so he's got to play well. He has a lot of spotlight on him and on the Lakers, And he's going to come out and he's going to prove it. He's kind of their third fiddle. Some would say it's Montrezl Harrell. Some would say it's Kyle Kuzma. But it's Dennis Schroeder. And he's an X factor. He's going to need to show up for them to compete. And I can see it happening, man. He's a good player. He showed it in OKC. He showed it in Atlanta. Very solid player. He can score good points. He can pass the ball good. And he's the X factor for me if this team wants to win the championship.
I have Andre Drummond. And the reason being with LeBron and his vision and his passing ability, AD taking some of that big man spotlight off of him, I think LeBron can make Andre Drummond a very, very powerful player and a big X factor for their championship run. Because as you saw, he threw him an alley-oop. And then I knew this could be special. Not anything that Andre Drummond does at all. He just has to finish. But mainly because of the presence of LeBron and his vision, I think. And he's a guy that, he's big and he can dunk. So LeBron will find him. He just needs to finish and rebound, block shots, steal. And he can be a very big factor. In fact, he can be an X factor on a championship team.
Yeah, I like that. That's a big one.
Thank you.
Next up is the Phoenix Suns. Devin Booker's having an MVP type of year. Chris Paul is the Chris Paul guy we always knew. X Factor, DeAndre Ayton. Pretty easy. You have your two main guys. Mikal Bridges is there. He's very solid as well. But you need your star caliber center to step up and be the guy that dominates folks down in the paint when you have guys on the wing with Booker and Paul. DeAndre Ayton's been very good this last few games. He's averaging 15 and 10 and 1 block the last 14 games. That's kind of pretty good. You're going to need that. You're going to need that big time from him in the playoffs. You're going to need a aggressive rebounder, an aggressive defender, and someone who's not going to play no games down in the paint. And that's DeAndre Ayton's game. So if he's able to play that game in the postseason, then they're going to be solid. That's what we need. That's what you need in Phoenix. DeAndre Ayton's the X factor, and I believe in that.
I agree. I think DeAndre is the X factor for all the reasons you mentioned above.
Next up, we have the Sacramento Kings. Who's your X factor?
The X factor is Halliburton. Tyrese Halliburton. Yeah, we know what De'Aaron Fox is. We know what Harrison Barnes is. But Tyrese Halliburton is still an enigma to me. But I think he will do great things in the NBA with his passing ability. He shoots kind of funky, but it goes in. He's pretty good at defense. He's a general. And I think the Kings, if they don't screw everything up again, have a solid player alongside De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, I like it. Halliburton's mine as well. He's averaging 13 points and 7 assists this year. Halliburton's a guy that they're looking forward to playing in the future. A 1-2 combo with him and Fox. He's, up there for Rookie of the Year. He's been outstanding. He's improved as the season went on, which is a huge sign, a huge deal for them. It's a great deal for them. As soon as they're able to move on from Buddy Hield, no slouch to Buddy Hield, who's had a great season. He's shooting 43% from three. But this isn't about Buddy Hield. This is about your future. This is about Tyrese Halliburton and his growth. And he's an X factor for this team because you kind of find that missing, number 2 option to Fox. And, you tried Bagley. It didn't work out as much. You tried Buddy Hield. We already know what Buddy is. He's a scorer. But you have Halliburton, who looks like he could be something very special, something different. Kind of a big-sized guard, kind of playoff Fox. And he looks very good, and I like him a lot. And I think it was a great pick. And hopefully they move on from Buddy Hield sooner rather than later so we can see Halliburton flourish on this young Sacramento King team. Next up, we have the Dallas Mavericks. You know, we're almost getting through here. A couple more teams. We'll let you guys ponder off. Who's your Dallas Maverick X Factor?
Dallas Maverick X Factor.
Dallas Maverick X Factor for me, Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah, that's mine.
He's an X Factor for me because he hasn't been very good. He's been out for injury. He has kind of taken a step back, in my opinion. It's not what you want to see out of your guy. He hasn't blossomed into the, two-way unicorn, special breed type of guy. He's more of a stretch four that's long and can block shots, and that's not ideal. We all expected Porzingis to come in here, be a dominant offensively, in the post moves, turnaround jumpers, more of a Dirk-like. But he's kind of turned into this stretch four who relies too much on shooting the three ball. His mid-range game is disgusting as well, but his mindset is very strange. And
there's stirrings that him and Luka don't like each other.
Oh, here we go again.
Europeans, and Porzingis had the mindset when he came here that this would kind of be his team, and Luka really shut that down real quick, and he's kind of salty because he should be averaging double-digit rebounds. There's nothing wrong with his legs, but he seems to be floating around the perimeter. And
he averages 9.7.
He should average more.
Yeah, I agree. It should be like 12.
But yeah, I've heard there's stirrings that they don't really get along.
I could see that.
Yeah. But yeah, I have him as an X Factor too, just because if he can get off his high horse and realize that Luka is a once-in-a-generation talent and that he should be honored to play with him instead of salty, then we can get things going.
Yeehaw, you rock down hip.
Dardine.
Houston Rockets up next. X Factor, Kevin Porter Jr.
Yeah, KPJ, baby. 50-point dime piece. Poppy.
Yeah, pop it off for Kevin Porter.
Popping one.
He's the X Factor, man. He's the guy that's coming in here and replacing James Harden. Man, he looks fun and exciting. I just want to say that. The MVP's been Jae'Sean Tate for this team. But all in all, Kevin Porter looks very exciting. It all depends on his growth. 20 years young, just dropped 50 points, 11 assists. That you don't see that on a typical 20-year-old. Most of these 20-year-olds are still in school. Most of these 20-year-olds are toodalooing with their toodaloos. But Kevin Porter's out here in the NBA dropping 50 and 11. Come on, man. This guy's special. This guy's the next James Harden. Bring it to him. He's the X Factor because his team needed a guy like Kevin Porter. There wasn't a lot of light at the end of the tunnel. John Wall was there. Christian Wood was the main guy. We all love him. But you were missing that. Who we building around, man? We traded James and we didn't get anything. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, right. We got Kevin Porter. It's already better than James. You got your first-round pick coming up. And it's very exciting for this Houston team in the future. And if he can continue to grow, continue to mold his game, craft it up, he is going to be excellent.
Yeah, when I was 20, I was still burying my head in the sand.
Yeah, man, I was eating cockroaches for dinner.
So, yeah, Kevin's, he's not very consistent. He's only 20, but it was kind of a relief to see him drop one of those 50 burgers and 11 assists. It brought tears to my eyes because I saw glimpses of James in that little front rat tail of his. And I really got excited, and I said, you know what? I'm just going to sit back and let this great man play ball.
Yeah, we play the game. We play the ball right.
The game be good to be.
Next up, we have the Memphis Grizzlies, X Factor, Triple J, Jaren Jackson.
Junior.
Finally back from his injury. First game back, he went bonkers on it. He's still kind of settling back in. Love Jaren Jackson. He's definitely a top 5 player. Favorite player, in my opinion, and not even an opinion, just one of my top 5 favorite players in the NBA. Love the guy, love his talent. Memphis, they're a pretty solid team. Hopefully they can, continue to grow. Morant, Jonas Valanciunas, and, Triple J, if he's able to come in and be that number 2 to Ja Morant, they got 2 young guys, 2 young studs. And him being the X Factor, he's got to continue to grow, continue to stay healthy, and hopefully in the future they can continue to build and this team can compete in a few years.
Yeah, I like that X Factor. I also like JJ. He's got the ceiling is the roof for that kid. So I like that pick, but I'm gonna go with Jonas Alalulish. He's a man. He's got a beard.
He was once a boy.
I don't know, man. I think he came out like that. But he plays with power and ferocity on those boards. He can come in and give you 20 and 20. He can come in and give you 15 and 11. He can come in and give you 10 and 10 if he needs be. But that guy is just a non-stop glass cleaner. If you went up to him and your car windshield was dirty, he'd wipe it for you. And he wouldn't ask for anything in exchange. And those are the kind of guys that you really need as an X factor. A guy that'll do something for you without anything in return. And that's Jonas. He just goes to work, clocks in, rummages around the pantry, and then he clocks out.
Yeah, you'll find him in the kitchen cabinet.
Yeah.
Next up is the New Orleans Pelicans. X factor for me is Lonzo Balls.
Yeah.
We need Lonzo Balls, man. We need him on the Pelicans. You have your main guy. You have Zion. You have Brandon Ingram. Lonzo is that guy. He is that guy that's going to mold this team. He's that guy that's going to run this team. Perfect fit with Zion. Lonzo's ability to run the offense, ability to pass the ball, his vision is next level. Man, those ball bros got that IQ of a Dinosaurus Rex. But what I'm saying is, Lonzo is the X factor. They were looking to trade him, but then realized, no, this is the guy we need for Zion. This is the guy we need to continue to build this future team. They're not looking to win now, obviously. They're looking to build a great team around Zion, around Lonzo, around Brandon Ingram. And those three are such a good three. If they can just continue to build, bring in the right guys around them, they will be good. Lonzo is a good player, and we love Lonzo. X Factor, continue to grow, continue to lead, continue to reach his potential of being Jason Kidd. Special.
I also have Lonzo Balls. And the thing that frustrates me about Lonzo is, last night he had a triple-double. He shot like 8 for 19 from 3, tied his career high in threes made. But the thing that frustrates me about Lonzo is, he finally gets his footing. He's shooting really well, and he gets hurt. And he comes back, and it takes him a while to get back into this, and it's a never-ending cycle. So we never get the whole picture of Lonzo. I'm waiting for the day where we get the whole painting, just the colors and the texture and the landscape of that picture will be something we will show our children.
Yeah, let's give it up for the children.
Yeah. Hey.
Next up, we have the San Antonio Spurs. Another rebuilding team. My X factor is DeJounte Murray. He's really improved this year. He looks stud-like. He looks very freak. Big guard, great rebounder, great facilitator. Really good. His plus and minus is 1.9 on a stink team, which is incredible. He's kind of led the charge for this team, with DeMar DeRozan now sitting. And moving forward, DeJounte is a franchise point guard for sure. I'm sure Greg Popovich loves this dude with all his heart. But I do want to shout out Derek White, another stud, absolute freak of a player. I love Derek White. I love DeJounte Murray. Not a Spurs fan, but I do like those two players for sure.
I found a turnip. I found a turnip in my pants. But I like DeJounte Murray. He's, no one really hears about anything going down in the San Antonio Spurs organization because they don't have the rebuilding. But DeJounte is a great player, great young kid, big guard, like Luke said, and, he's a good X factor, and he's got a bright future ahead of him if he stays with Pop and the Spurs, and he gets the Spurs on a game, and he's just in the horse.
Yeah, just get it over, patting on and patting it over.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone, for enjoying another episode of Forget What You Heard. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Continue listening. We'll keep churning them out like we do. On the next episode, we'll give you our rundown of what happened at Caddo Lake. So you guys take care. Have a great week. We love you. Peace, love, and happiness.